All right, so in this video, I'm going to go over the proper method for installing both 3-tab and architectural shingles. I'm going to be covering the basic layout and installation considerations here. So if you need more information on nailing and shingling specific areas of the roof, such as valleys, hips, and working around dormers and chimneys, please go to the separate video sections in the series for those areas. So as I've mentioned before, there are a variety of ways to apply different shingles correctly. Certain specialty shingles have layout techniques that are different from what I'll describe here. So remember, always check the directions for each particular type of shingle that you're using. Fortunately, the directions are printed on each bundle of shingles, so you should just look at the bundle to see if the method that you're going to use is correct. And this is the back of one of the bundles of shingles that we're going to use. And you can see it sort of starts at the beginning and goes to the end. It's kind of hard to just follow this and do the whole roof correctly. It's probably why you're watching this video, but always reference this, especially for the layout techniques that we're going to describe, and it'll tell you which are good ideas and which types of techniques you shouldn't follow. So the techniques I'm about to describe, as I've said, are going to work with both a standard 3-tab and architectural, also called the laminated shingle. There are alternate methods for installing both of these varieties of shingles. So I want to be clear about that. I'm going to describe one technique that'll work for both varieties, okay? If you read the manufacturer's instructions and want to try another pattern, go for it. If you're working with your buddy that's helping you and says he's done this before and tells you he can do it a different way, I'd be real careful. You want to always read the package and make sure that the layout setup that you're using for that shingle is approved by the manufacturer for that type of shingle. I've seen a lot of problems. I go over that in one of my videos with different layouts being wrong for that particular type of shingle. So make sure to follow one of the manufacturer's recommended techniques. So before you start with either of the 3-tab or architectural shingle, you're going to want to chalk lines on the roof to help you with your layout. Again, the layout we're going to use is 3-tab or architect friendly. However, if you're working with an architectural shingle, keep in mind that the reveal may be different than what we're doing on the layout here, so you'll need to adjust the layout measurements accordingly. Again, on the shingle package, it's going to tell you exactly how far to make your reveal for that area. I cover the installation of starter shingles in more depth in another section of the video. In summary, either use a designated starter shingle that looks like this, or you can use a 3-tab shingle with the tabs cut off that looks like this. Let this first shingle hang over the edge of the roof or drip edge no more than 1 inch. Since we've already got the starter shingles on here, we're only going to need to mark out lines for the field shingles. Keep in mind that while the field shingles are 12 inches wide, the reveal of each shingle on a standard pitch roof is 5 inches. So ultimately, the lines that we make are going to be 5 inches apart going up the roof. I've mentioned this before, and you're going to see me using this in a couple sections of the video, but to make your marks as visible as possible, I love using this type of silver Sharpie. It shows up great on this black felt paper and just helps you be a little more accurate as you're doing your roof, if you can see your lines really well. Pencils tend to blend in a lot depending on the sunlight. So for demonstration purposes, we're going to go ahead and chalk a line for each course of shingles. Once you get comfortable with doing shingles, you can probably skip every other line and make a mark every 10 inches. You could also skip the first line, as it's pretty easy to line up the first shingle as it's going to be even with the bottom shingle. But like I said, for this purposes, just to make it real clear, we're going to go boom, boom, boom up the roof. All right, so pulling your tape from the bottom of the starter shingle, you're going to make a mark of 12 inches because that's the width of the first shingle. It's actually 12 1/8. I'm going to keep it simple here and call it 12 inches. Your second mark is going to be at 17 inches. So that's 5 inches up from 12. So after that mark, every line is going to be 5 inches apart. So you go from 17 to 22 to 27 and so on up the roof. Go ahead, mark your lines here, go to the other end of the roof, and mark the same lines. Make sure you're making the same distances at the other end of the roof, and go ahead and snack the lines. So once you got your lines on, we're ready to begin running our shingles. So we're going to start, I'm going to show you how to do the 3-tab shingle. Again, this method will work basically the same for architectural shingles. Now, as I understand it, in some areas of the country, it is common to lay out your shingle with a staggered pattern so that the tabs in the channel in between them don't all line up. And it's possible to do it that way, but for simplicity's sake, I'm going to teach you the technique called 6 up, 6 off, which is going to leave us with a regular pattern with the 3 tabs. Again, the architects are different, so they're going to look staggered. So on a section of roof like this, you could really start on either end if it's wide open. In this case, because we've got the dormer back here behind me, we're going to start over here on the left side. So it's going to be really easy to get started, and then we'll work our way over to the dormer and the valleys and stuff like that. So if you're right-handed like me, it's easier to begin on the left side because the shingles will be over here and you're working with your gun or your nail hammer on the right-hand side. So if you're left-handed, you might find it easier to start on the right side of the roof. That's up to you. So most often, though, where you start is going to be determined by what else you're shingling over to. So you're going to start by applying a full shingle. Again, that keeps it easy, and we made the allowances for that with the starter shingle here by cutting it short so that the tabs don't line up. You want to make sure to keep it flush with both the outside of the starter shingles on the gable end and also with the bottom edge of the starter shingle. As I discussed in the fastening section, you're going to use 4 nails per shingles. On this first shingle, you want to make sure not to nail too close to the outside edge over here. Normally you put your shingle right at the edge of the shingle. We don't want our nail to go through the drip edge or anything like that, so we're going to bring it in a little bit farther. That's kind of common sense, but just make sure you don't shoot through your drip edge and that you're actually nailing into some wood. It's going to be a little bit further back. The other nails are always going to go low right here below the glue line above each channel, and again over here at the outside edge of the shingle. So the next shingle going up the roof is going to be 6 inches shorter. So what you're going to do is cut off 6 inches off the left side of the shingle. Okay, over here, you don't want to cut it off the shingle over here, so we'll have a nice factory butt joint going over here. And a nice little tip is that on these 3-tab shingles, they've made a little notch 6 inches in, which is right in the middle of this tab. So it might be hard to see on the camera, but there's a little mark right here, so that's going to help you line up your 6 inches cuts as you go up the roof. So we're going to get it lined up here. Again, it's lined up even with the outside of the starter shingle. We got it lined up nice on our line, and we're going to go ahead. And again, you want to be careful about getting your nail too close to the edge, so we can just put 2 nails right here over top of this channel, and then another nail here, and then again on the edge here. The following shingle, which is going to be the 3rd shingle up the roof, gets another 6 inches cut off of it, which is going to take off a full tab. Remember, your tabs on your 3-tab shingles are 1 foot wide, 12 inches wide, so we went 6 inches off. We took another 6 inches off that, which is a foot, which is the full tab here. So I think you're starting to get the idea here. We're just moving our way up the roof. And again, same idea. Keep it flush with the outside edge. Keep it even with our mark up here. And we're gonna nail it the same as the other ones. All right, so the 4th shingle in our series here is going to be another 6 inches shorter, which is going to make this shingle 18 inches wide. This is half of the full 3-tab shingle. And it's just going to go on just like the other ones. I think you're getting the idea here. One point that I want to make about when I nailed this 3rd course is you want to be careful where you put this nail. Again, you can't get too much closer to the outside because there's nothing to nail to over here. But you also want to make sure that the nail's not going to be as far away from this joint as possible. So I could tell by looking at this course where the joint was going to fall, because you'll see it lines up right here. So when I put this nail in, I just try to keep it as far away from this joint as I could while still finding some plywood underneath it here. So basically, you can line that up, nail it in place just like the other ones, and so on until we get to the 6th shingle, and then we're going to just start back again with the full shingle, and move on off to the right here. All right, so we've reached the 6th course up, which you can see left us with a tab that's 6 inches wide up here. I put 2 nails in here. Again, always make sure not to get too close to the edge. I got two nails in here, and we've got the 6 courses on. So that completes our pattern. We can go ahead and start filling in, going this way with full shingles. We can't go any smaller than the 6-inch tab, so the next shingle up, and you'll see this in a second, is going to be a full shingle, just like this first course is down here. Until you reach the other side of the roof or some obstruction like this dormer, all the shingles you're going to be used from here on off in these 6 courses are going to be full-sized and nailed just as we described in that section as I've shown you here. Once you reach the 7th course, you just start back with the same 6 up, 6 off pattern until you reach the 12th course, when it starts all over again. You can see we've been working up here. We've worked over to our dormer. This tip I'm about to show you could be used when you're coming into a dormer, a chimney, skylight, or if you've reached the other side of the roof and you're gonna have to trim your shingles off shorter. So instead of using a tape measure to figure out the length of the shingle, the easiest way to measure it and cut it is to do it just like this. So what you're going to do is flip the shingle over 180 degrees so it's upside down and the outside edge is flush with whatever you're coming up to. You're going to make a mark here and then make a straight cut on that line. Then when you flip the shingle over, you're going to be good to go and the shingle's going to be trimmed to the right length and you never had to get your tape measure out. All right, so now we're on to fastening the architectural shingles. Just so you know, this is the Certainty Landmark Pro. Weatherwood is the color. And on these shingles, it does differ and you need to check. But for these architectural shingles, the reveal is going to be 5 5/8 of an inch. So that's a little bit different than the reveal for the 3-tab shingles, which is 5 inches. So you're going to need to adjust your chalk lines to make a mark every 5 5/8 of an inch rather than 5 inches. And to apply these shingles, we're going to use basically the same technique as with the 3-tabs, and that's going to leave us with that same diagonal pattern. So to start with, we're going to take a full shingle and line it up with the bottom of the starter shingle in the corner, just the same as with the 3-tabs. All right, so I got the shingle on here, and we go into this in far more detail in the section on fastening, but I want you to just remember, you want to nail directly on the line here. And this shingle, not all architectural shingles, but this shingle has several lines that are marked on here that indicate where you can put the nails. In this case, I'm always going to go with the lower place. So we've got 4 nails in here, and you may not be able to pick up the blue line real well on the camera, but there's a blue line on here, down here, where we put the shingles. Again, you don't want to get too close to the edge because there's really nothing over here to nail to. You're going to put the nails about 1 inch in from the edges and 13 inches apart in the field. So again, in the section on fastening, I cover this, but the next shingle is going to have a break right here, and you want to make sure that this second nail isn't anywhere near where the butt joint of the other shingle is. All right, so this is going to be the 2nd course of shingles. I've gone and cut 6 inches off the left side. Again, we want the factory edge where we're going to butt over here on the right. So I cut 6 inches off the left, and it's going to go down here. I've got my mark, my line chalked up here where it's going to go, and we're going to nail it in right there. And you can see the point that I was making earlier is our first nail's here and my second nail's over here. So the butt joint of these 2 shingles is going to be real far away from either of these nails. So any water that gets in behind the shingle isn't going to ever reach that nail. For the 3rd course, cut 12 inches off the left side of the shingle. And again, it's just going to go in right here on our line, all the way over to the side. And right here, I'm making sure that the nails are away from the butt joint. All right, so for the fourth course, we took another 6 inches off the left side, so it's 6 inches 6 inches shorter than the last course. And then for the fifth course, we're just going to keep it the same and take 6 inches off, and this shingle is going to go on here, and there's not going to be a butt joint over top of this shingle, so you don't have to be as concerned with the placement of the nails. You definitely want to keep them low, but as far as where it goes in here, because there's going to be a full shingle that goes on top of this one. So now we've established the pattern that's going to carry us through the rest of the roof. Keep running the shingles in this 5-course pattern as you go up the roof, and that'll get you there. From here on out, just like with the 3 tabs, it's going to be full shingles from here to the other side of the roof or to an obstruction like this. And then when you get to this row, you're going to have a full shingle here and start with the 6 inches off going up. Enjoy this video but still wondering how to roof the rest of your house? Go now to RoofingIntelligence.com, where you can instantly watch the entire 17-part series I've created that covers all aspects of shingle roofing.